today I wanted to talk about some things that could use a little bit of a change. I feel like it's always good to give feedback, and even though I am just one person, we can hear your responses in the comments and you can share your thoughts on these too. These are things that in the game I kind of wish it would just be done a little bit different, or maybe we had some improvements on to make quality of life or just the enjoyment of the game a hell of a lot better. Maybe I'm just complaining, who knows? Let me know in the comments. Maybe it's a skill issue. It could very well be the case. Let's talk about it. This first one is just a personal pet peeve or pet hate or whatever the hell you want to call it, and it's actually the timing durations of things like darkness, temporal anomaly, which is where this branched from, or the animate dead buff as well. These last for 12 minutes. Now, okay, 12 minutes is longer than a lot of the other things we have in the game, which could be an issue in themselves, and we'll talk about that soon. But is there any reason that these don't work the same way that incense sticks do? For example, with incense sticks, if you want this to last for an hour long, you just use more. Why can't I cast this spell twice to get 24 minutes? Why can't I cast it 5 times to get an hour, Jagex? That would feel so much better. Not only that, it would cost me the exact same runes, or if you want to balance this and make it in a cool way, you actually can add a benefit to having it last 12 minutes instead of an hour and cost more runes for each next cast that you do whenever you've already got it enabled. So every time you cast it again, it costs another 2 runes than it normally would, or something like that. This way you would have an item sink as well for those people like myself who would absolutely cast this to last a full hour, but you also give the players the option to not recast this, and when it runs out in 12 minutes they can cast it again, or when it gets to I don't know, the last 2 or 3 minutes, it costs the same amount as it normally would. The actual quality of life that incense sticks give from being able to extend the duration is nice. Not having to worry about this for the rest of the entire time that you do a fight is nice. It feels good to use. Why, when these were designed, darkness and animate dead and the actual temporal anomaly spell, did we think that, hey, let's only make this last for 12 minutes instead of 60 minutes, or not let people extend this at all? Because there's no real balancing reason for this. If you wanted to, you could just bring the runes with you, which would require extra inventory space, sure. But for example, with darkness, you already have all of the necromancy runes in your nexus anyway, so you can just recast it whenever the hell you want. For magic, it's just annoying. You got to go to the bank, you get in a new boss fight, and it's got 1 minute left, and you're like, oh, this boss takes 3 minutes. Now I have to teleport back and reset it. It just leads us directly into point number 2. Point number 2 for me right now is that we need something that reduces how many things you need to remember before starting a boss fight. Because whenever Jagex introduces new things to combat in the game, they don't just introduce a new item or a new buff or anything like that. They actually introduce more things that you need to manage every time you want to take on a boss. Well, what do I mean by this? I complain about this on stream a lot, and most people tend to agree. Whenever you start a boss fight, it doesn't feel like you're getting hyped up and amped up to take on a boss and thinking about, okay, they're going to deal with this mechanic and this mechanic. You're actually thinking, right, let me just get out my 2-minute checklist so that this fight actually goes well. Have I checked that my overloads aren't about to run out? Have I checked that my book or my grimoire or whatever you have in your pocket slot is actually on? Have you checked that you have enough duration for the fight? Have you turned on darkness or used temporal anomaly or animate dead? Have you checked your aura and that you're using the correct aura? Are your incense sticks absolutely maxed out and do you have enough duration for the fight? Have you used weapon poison? Have you used anti-poison? Have you done your bonfire? Get a little bit of extra HP boost. Has your familiar got enough duration for this fight? Do you have scrolls in your familiar? Are your scrolls on your familiar set to auto fire? Do you have divine charge left in your gear for this fight? Is your gear percent about to run out, like your essence of finality has not enough charge left in it? Are the runes in your rune pouch enough for the fight that you need and the spells that you need? Are you going to run out midway and then want to alter for the game the second you get to the last phase of Zamorak and have no runes left? Do you have runes in your necro pouch? Have you got ectoplasm in your necro pouch? Do you have vulnerability bombs ready for this fight? Or have you only got 3 left because that's all was left in your bank and just loaded that and rip, I guess? Have you made sure to keep smoke cloud active for the entire fight? If you're a necromancer, have you conjured your conjures and used the ghost ability before you start the fight and then extended your conjures as well? If If you're on magic, have you got the correct spell? Because you should be swapping between Exsanguinate and the Insight Fear spell. And do you have all of the correct ammo for ranged, and are you swapping between them at the right times? Now, of course, some of these examples in here you could avoid and say, well, you don't have to swap ammo to be effective. You don't have to swap spells to be effective. But things like aura timers, book timers, overload timers, familiar timers, all of these timers that you have to micromanage before you start a fight, because if you don't, halfway through that fight, your life is going to be miserable. You're probably going to either teleport out and want to alt F4 the game then, or you can alt F4 the game anyway as soon as you hit Death's Office. It's become a massive headache to actually micromanage all of these little numbers on your buff bar, all of these durations and charges and all of these other things that you have that, man, I wish I could press a button and just have everything turned on. Why can't I press one button? It uses my overload, it turns on my book, it does everything else, my prayers, all of that sort of stuff would be absolutely beautiful. Or when you add things to the game, consider everything else that's going to be managed, and if players are going to have to just add this to their list of things that they need to do before they start a fight. This got out of hand during Necromancy, in my opinion. All the extras that you had to do, the pre-fight setups that you had to do every single time, and now it's just spread and it's got even worse. Yes, I may have exaggerated my list a little bit, but you kind of get what I'm saying. It feels really bad to get 3 minutes into a 5-minute kill and then realize that the reason you've been slow this time is because your grimoire wasn't turned on, and then when you do turn it on, it turns out your familiar has no scrolls left, and so you may as well reset anyway. What I'm trying to say is that micromanaging so many different timers and small numbers and stuff just doesn't feel fun to do. And you could argue this is a skill issue, and in it, just remember to put your grimoire on, and maybe you're right, but there's no skill in pressing one keybind or right-clicking the book and pressing enable, especially when a boss fight hasn't even started. You stood outside of the room and you just forgot to press one out of the 20 things. It just feels like everything is far too cluttered in this sense. There's many solutions to this as well. Jagex could add the stack amount for the nexuses to all of the rune pouches. They could allow us to use multiple weapon poison doses at once so that they last for a full hour as well. They could allow us, again, just like in point 1, to cast Temporal Anomaly and of the like over and over again to stack the duration. They could add something to the game that allows us to process overloads into longer lasting durations, so you consume 6 doses into 1, for example, and get the duration of the whole dose. They could make it so that Divine Charge can run from your bank. Why do I have to physically add it to my gear? If I have Divine Charge in the bank, just take it from there, or at least increase the limit so that it's not running out every time I'm doing a Telos streak. Add a repair dummy to War's Retreat so that I can repair my gear every, like, I don't know, hour or something. Just right click it next to the altar and repair all. There's many other solutions as well. I'm not going to go through every single idea that I have for every single problem that we have when you are preparing for PVM. But this one was a bit of a ranty one. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. What else could use a fix? And another thing that needs fixing is that over 57% of you guys that watch the videos are not actually subscribed. So help the channel out, click that sub button, it would be incredibly appreciated. Let's get back to this video. The final thing for this video that I wanted to have a little bit of a rant about is actually something that has been in the game for years, but recently kind of just came into conversation a lot more often with all these PVM nerfs that we had, and Jagex saying that, you know, people killing Raksha and the like is ruining the skilling economy as well. Now you can probably see where this is going, but if you've been in any of my streams lately, or if you've seen, I don't know, the recent videos that I made on this topic, you know that my big issue in the game right now, and I kind of think this whole thing is wasted, is this place right here that you can see on screen. The fort for Rune 3, or anywhere that you basically just make it so that everybody stands in the same location using portable skilling locations or protean items or divine locations, and you all stand at the fort instead of going and using the world. Do you guys even know? Like, I would be curious, very curious on newer players to the game, people who've maybe been here for like 6 months to a year. How much of the world have you actually explored? Because obviously being around this game for a long time, I've explored pretty much every part of the RuneScape world. Pretty much. However, it seems like these days, especially when I was leveling up my alt account, you just don't need to leave really any of the main hubs. And having a main skilling hub seems a little bit interesting to me. Having skilling locations, portable ones, and having like the protean items and everything else, but also then having a location like Fort for Rune 3 where it seems really cool, right? To have access to a sawmill for construction. You have the archaeologist workbench for archaeology. You have an inventor's workbench for the invention guild, and you also have a furnace, anvils, and many other places too. fletching station, herblore station, like everything, right? Everything is here. You don't need to go anywhere else for many skills. Sounds great on a pitch, but then when you start putting it into the game and realize that the rest of the world now has very little use, and whenever you go to those locations, if you ever do, you don't see anybody. It stops the world feeling like an MMO, in my opinion. I feel like they should instead, rather than having a location like this, like the fort's cool and all, maybe make a reason that you wouldn't want to skill here though, and get rid of all portable locations, in my opinion, and instead of that, make it so that if you skill in the respective guild for each actual skill, so if you want to do crafting, you go and skill in the crafting guild, and you get bonus XP, maybe 5%, maybe 10%, something small, not something big, or maybe even not the bonus XP, you get the stuff that the portable skilling stations would give you, saving materials, that sort of stuff. Maybe you just process things quicker, maybe the progress of actually doing things is a little bit sped up, so that it's not bonus XP, it's purely just a more efficient place to be. This would be cool because it would mean that people would be back out in the world using these guilds and these skilling places that were originally designed, and making the world feel a little bit more active. It would be very cool to be doing your crafting, for example, and you turn up at the crafting guild, or mining, you turn up at the mining guild, and you see the people doing the same skills, whereas instead you are at the Fort for Rune 3 and everybody's just crowded around here in the exact same world, just doing whatever the hell they want, portables, dummies, using the freaking divine locations and everything else like that. It just seems crazy to me. I don't know if this is meant to be an MMORPG and they've designed this massive awesome world, and honestly the RuneScape's world is really well done and really cool, but this just kind of makes it pointless to me, and it feels so strange to do. I wish that they would just one day decide to sack this off, get rid of all of it, and you know, just go back to using the guilds and other locations and make people actually go out into the world. But that's probably never going to happen because everything I mentioned about this is Treasure Hunter. And while the actual fort itself isn't Treasure Hunter, it is a great place to use all of your Treasure Hunter items to get the most out of them, which is a shame, but it is what it is. So we have a bonus one, which was from the intro of the video, and that is Jagex have added this weird thing where if you're in a busy area, you actually can't see anybody. I don't know what's going on in this clip here. It's very strange. I made like a rant video about this that's for members on the channel, but the short of it is like, I don't know if this is to reduce your frames or to like, sorry, increase your performance or what, to like reduce the strain on the server, but like, this is World 84, there's like 1,000 players here right now, and if you're going to put all the players in one area, like the fort, to do the skilling like we just talked about, maybe also consider not making all those players invisible to the point where the place looks dead. This is an MMO, this is your most busy place, your most busy population world as well, and the game looks dead anyway. So this now, if you travel around the world, you see nobody, and now if you go to the big hotspot locations, you still see nobody. There is dummies and locations being used here, the animations are working, there's no one at them. There's dummies being killed. There's nobody killing them. It just looks ridiculous. What is this? Anyway, we're going to end it on that one. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you in the next one. So, guys, bye.